Hello, viewers. Welcome to this fireside chat on fast tracking BFSI, leveraging IT for consistent growth and enhanced customer experience. The status quo for companies in the BFSI vertical is unsustainable. While the pressure to adapt already existed before COVID-19, the pandemic has forced organizations to accelerate their transformation. The rapidly growing hyper-connected environment requires BFSI companies to continuously reimagine their business to deliver innovative services, ensure convenient and customized customer experience by proactively capitalizing on emerging technology-led disruption, creating shareholder value, and building a long-term competitive advantage on new channels. Besides, the need for greater compliance and robust business continuity solutions is growing with new regulatory initiatives. The sector is on the cusp of adopting digitalization in almost all possible areas to ensure consistent growth. In this insightful fireside chat session, we will discuss the trends, challenges, and opportunities for the BFSI vertical. And joining me in this conversation are Mr. Rishabh Garg, CTO, Ugrow Capital, and Mr. Tidhankar Mitra, Regional CEO West at Sifi Technologies. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you. Our pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you, Yash.
Great. So I'll set the ball rolling with Mr. Garg. Mr. Garg, how is the BFSI landscape changing and what are its drivers? Because of the pandemic, I'm sure the BFSI landscape has changed a lot in the last couple of years. What changes are you witnessing and what do you feel are the major drivers for it?
So Yash, as you certainly mentioned in your opening remarks, the BFSI sector is changing rapidly now with innovations across all the offerings like what we see, payments, banking, till lending. And pandemic even accelerated this pace of technology innovations. Products are now more inclusive, reaching out to various segments which were not served before. You can see lots of companies now targeting MSME sector and rural markets. Now loans are disbursed on a click. We can service customers now even through WhatsApp. Various fintechs had now emerged which can now focus on a unique segment and unique problem statement. Apart from this, there is another trend of hyper-personalization of services. So if I talk about drivers, so adoption of cloud infrastructure, one of the driver. Previously, banks had security concerns about cloud adoption. Now they're increasingly migrating their services to the cloud. Now cloud migration is part of banks' digital transformation strategy, which enables them to achieve scalability, flexibility, and reliability, and while also cutting the infrastructure costs. During the pandemic, cloud architecture helped banks to continue operating while their staff keep working from remote locations. Public clouds like AWS and Azure reduce the entry barriers even for startups. Even startups now, fintech startups now boost of products with enterprise grade security and reliability at a much lower cost than traditional banks. Cloud native services for deployment, AI/ML, reduced cost of expensive development resources now. We do not need a team of DBA to manage our database resources. Now, companies like Amazon, AWS, Azure provide these managed services on a click. So another driver which I can foresee is in technology adoption is AI and RPA. AI models enables us in decision making, enhancing the customer experience. They are helping us out in making sense of terabytes of data. Bank statements and GST data can be analyzed by AI programs and enable us in making quick decisioning of loans without even knowing the end customers. Just by analyzing the data, we can get to know the credit worthiness of a person. Automated programs continue filtering out data of existing customers and raise early warning signals before even customer defaults on his loan payment. So with newer AI-powered credit models, organizations now exploring newer segments which were not possible before. So a recent example is giving out loans to MSME sector. So earlier they were mostly underserved. Now more and more companies are rolling out loans for MSME sector because availability of the huge data.
Wonderful, Mr. Garg. Coming to Mr. Mitra. Mr. Mitra, you just heard Mr. Garg talk about certain trends like cloud, AI, ML, finding a lot of traction in the BFSI vertical. I'm sure you must be interacting with lots of technology leaders. What kind of business and technology trends do you see in your interactions with these business technology leaders?
Yeah, first of all, thank you, Yash, for having me into this August platform. Really excited. And thanks, Garg, for joining the conversation. So I think pandemic has really accelerated the digital transformation, which started off way back in 2014 across the industry. And BFSI has been the only segment which has been driving from the front. Okay, there are distinct couple of areas. There are 5 areas rather where the digital transformation or the acceleration is happening. Number one, it's around the infrastructure. Okay, so customers who were increasingly having an infrastructure from a cost center perspective are moving into a service-led model very clearly. Okay, now the infrastructure, you can think about having a captive data center. The infrastructure, you can think about anything which is capex heavy. Okay, so the customer is purely moving from an capex to an opex, a service-led model. Second is the infrastructure. All the infrastructure, the customers are adopting hyperscale or hyper reach in terms of enabling the software defined, whether it's on the network side or whether it's on the AI ML on the data center ops side, or whether it is adopting very high frequency network to push the application or the data faster to push the data faster to the application. So all these adoptions are happening in a big way. Cloud is given because every customer today are moving almost 25 to 30% of their workloads to cloud for those applications which needs more agility, more scalability. They are adopting either a private cloud on a build model or they're going to the hyperscalers. Okay. Third area is the customer experience. So most of the banks, all the banks rather, if you look about private, public, look at NBFCs like Ugro Capital or Mahindra Finance or some of the leading edge technology fintech startups which has come up. They're all focusing in terms of the CX, in terms of a very enriching customer experience. Okay, and all the innovations are happening outside the core, because a core application, whether it's a core banking or a core insurance, while the innovation is happening at a given space, but the innovation is much more faster in terms of adopting data lakes or artificial intelligence across the core, outside the core, and all those periphery applications like data lakes, chatbots, they are of increasingly adoption by the customer. The customers are adopting because that gives them more agility and a very different and an enriching experience in terms of their customer engagement models. Because everything is working from home, and the impact from a customer engagement model, what has been in the past, pre-pandemic days, it has completely different now today. And the last but not the least is the security. Okay, so as everyone is adopting internet, the bandwidth and all, so every customer is concerned about the security, both from the internal as well as from the external factors. It is not about enabling a VPN. It is about how you can secure your application at the periphery level, how you can secure your application on an advanced level security at the API level itself. Okay, so a lot of acceleration we see in terms of web application firewall kind of solutions. Enhanced DDoS solutions are being implemented by many BFSI customers today. So it is across scalable infrastructure. Customers who have been cloud skeptical, they are needing an infrastructure which is of cloud scale in nature with all the automation and the agility. So it's a combination of all these factors which is driving the digital adoption across the BFSI.
Sure, wonderful. Thank you so much, Mr. Mitra, for that very comprehensive answer and enlisting those 5 major technology trends in the BFSI space. I'll come back to Mr. Garg now. So companies in the BFSI space have seen a majority of their customers going digital during the past year and a half. I'm sure you would have seen a quantum jump in the number of customers accessing your platform. How can the IT infrastructure match steps with this sudden rise in online users? How did you manage to keep pace with this increase in customers, sudden increase in spike?
So organizations who pivoted their journey on cloud are at ease with the sudden surge in online users. So as Ugro has pivoted on cloud from the beginning, we basically started our journey on cloud itself. So in cloud deployments, servers can scale up and scale down horizontally based on user load, basically. So this, when more and more FIs, financial institutions, are now using microservices-based architectures, your traditional monolithic blocks, which again provides them security against sudden surge of users. So this is the prime benefit of moving on a cloud infrastructure. So that's how the FIs are able to handle the sudden surge of users on a cloud. The companies who are still on the traditional legacy data centers, they struggle in adding the more capacities to their existing systems.
Wonderful. So, Mr. Mitra, do you agree with Mr. Garg there? He's one of those born digital companies. Is cloud the way forward for traditional companies as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, as I said, there are 4 different areas of cloud adoptions that we are seeing, 4 types. Customers who traditionally comes from a captive infrastructure, cost center kind of a model, they are moving towards a service-led model, but the infrastructure they need at cloud scale. So there is a lot of opportunities for service provider like us to build that out automation and the service layer, which gives the customer an agility and convert that CapEx to an OpEx model. So that is one, which is around cloud enabling the customer towards cloud. The second category is around cloud inspire. Now, those customers are inspired by cloud. Okay, so they are adopting a very clear multi-tenant private cloud model, okay, with all the checks and balances in terms of security, because every customer is governed by RBI and IRDA regulations, and and the regulations or the compliance varies in terms of the nature of the business of the BFSI. And NBFC's regulation or a compliance would be drastically different as compared to a bank, or for example, a life insurance vis-a-vis a general insurance company. So we are seeing increasingly customers, they are cloud inspired and they are adopting a kind of a hybrid model in terms of an on-prem data center, but at the same time, the on-prem data center has all the functionalities in terms of automation, security parameters, and it is completely software defined and having the scale for like a cloud scale infrastructure. But at the same time, the same customer, they are not hesitant to move certain workloads to private cloud or public cloud because those applications are absolutely cloud ready. So we are seeing that acceptance in a large scale. Third category are those customers who are clearly embracing hybrid multi-cloud. Okay, so they are even shifting their captive data center to a hosted environment. Okay, at the same time, they are telling us, can you help us to build a private cloud in a secure caged environment with biometrics authentication and control. At the same time, I have certain applications where I would like these UAT, the test and dev of these applications, where I'm doing continuous integration and continuous development using modern application modernization methods and technologies in like Kubernetes or Red Hat OpenShift for that matter. Can I run them on AWS, okay, or any of the hyperscale cloud providers? So we are seeing an increased adoptions of hybrid multi-cloud adoption, and that gives an opportunity for a service provider like Sify in terms of showcasing our multi-cloud management fabric, which gives a customer a kind of a peace of mind to have a single infrastructure experience where all the applications can talk to each other like a single LAN environment. Okay. And the fourth category are those customers whose strategy is pure cloud first, which we call it as cloud enhanced. So those customers are increasingly doing apps modernization. They're adopting the SaaSify. The application is like SaaS for them, software as a service. So increasingly, every adoptions of technology, they are looking at SaaSified based adoption. At the same time, they're increasingly moving applications to hyperscalers or to private cloud and having a multi-cloud management fabric as well to manage their disparate infrastructure. So we are seeing all the trends happening. It is not tilted to one particular aspect, but that's for sure. There were certain customers pre-pandemic, they said no to cloud, but those days are gone. Every customer is moving applications to cloud. In a scale of 1 to 10, the use case and the adoption can differ.
Sure. Definitely. But like you said, the hybrid multi-cloud is definitely the way forward for most enterprises.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. You also spoke about customer experience in your previous response. We'll talk a little bit more about that, hear your thoughts on that. But I'll move to Mr. Garg now on the same subject of customer experience. Mr. Garg, customer experience and expectations have skyrocketed in recent times. How can technology help in meeting these expectations and enhancing the CX?
As I mentioned earlier, that hyper-personalization of services are now being delivered basis technologies available to process customer data at a speed is now at our disposal in cloud. So also customers can communicate through various means like WhatsApp in their natural language, basically. Multiple payment options, chatbots have big time in meeting these expectations, in fact. So we are at Ugrow, we are building voice bots, which can talk to customers as real person and remind them of their payment due dates. And basis the customer interaction, they voice bots decide their next course of action. If a voice bot calls a customer that you have a due date pending, would you like to pay the bill? If a customer says yes, I will pay the bill now, immediately the voice bot sends a payment to the customer. If a customer says no, I will pay the bill after 2 days, so the voice bot sends a reminder link or call to a customer after 2 days. So this is now the capability of the bots, which are being used by us, and we are building those bots right now to increase our collection efficiencies. So with bots, organizations can now keep their brand available for 24/7. It's not 9 to 6 now, basically. So the customer can ping their organization, can ping Ugrow Capital with bots 24/7 for any service requests.
Yeah, sure, great. So lots of innovations happening in the CX space. Mr. Mitra, your thoughts?
Yeah, so I agree with Rishabh completely, because the CX is all about how efficiently you can push the data faster to the applications. As simple as that, right? Now, there are multiple ways to deliver a CX. It can be a voice bots or a chat bots, or, but at the end of the day, it needs a very high frequency network, right? It needs a lot of programmability and new age application modernization methods, like working on microservices, running application as containers, because increasingly we are having conversation with CXOs and CDOs who are saying that my endpoint is containers. They don't talk about application as a word. They talk about containers. Okay, so they look at applications like containers, right? And the moment that the end state happens in the form of containers, you are bound to adopt a very significant portion of your customer experience in terms of adopting AI and machine learning and deep learning, right? And that drives a very enriching customer experience, like the example which Rishabh was giving. Like, if I am a life insurance customer, and if I go to a private life insurance website, the first guy who pops up from the left hand side, right hand side window is a robot, and he said, "Hi, welcome. How can I help you?" And then you start chatting with her, and she publish a whole lot of information, and those informations becomes very useful for your next course of action. So it is all about intelligence, which is getting built using parallel computing design, algorithm, and it's all across the AI ML. So we see AI ML traditionally, which has been adopted. The early adopters has been these the research companies, the satellite guys who launches satellite in, say ISRO or some of the Bhava Atomic Research and some of the other DRDO labs. They has been the early adopter for AI ML. But now the AI ML is a natural choice of adoptions for large enterprises, including banks, NBFCs, and various other customers, because everyone has to give a very different customer experience and engage with their customers on a 24/7, 365 days basis. So there is no other choice other than adopting AI ML.
My next question is also to you, Mr. Mitra. Today, challenger banks and new entrants from other industries are eroding the market share of traditional BFSI entities. Besides, margins for traditional products have also declined as they become more commoditized.
Correct.
Do you think technology has a role here in overcoming some of these challenges for traditional players? What is the way forward for them?
Yeah, so I don't want to name any particular customer or any financial institution, but yes, you are absolutely spot on. The competition of, say, let's take the top 3 private banking customers. The competition is not is no more amongst them. The competition for each of them is with the leading edge, the new age fintech companies, the Google Pays or the Paytm or the PhonePe. Because if you look at the new age fintech companies who are the disruptors, they are the front face for you and me as a customer. You go to Google Pay, Google is in front of you and you are enjoying an experience of using Google Pay or Phone Pay or Paytm for that matter. So I think the run which these banks and the payment gateways that they are building is to own the front end experience. Right now, they're at the back end. Okay, the backend transaction is happening with their APIs, which is integrated with the UPI-based applications, right? So the whole fight or the survival of the fittest is to who will own the front end, right? Like an Amazon, like a Google, like a Facebook. Okay, so that's where there's a lot of innovation, innovative thinking, out of the box thinking is happening. As an organization, as an individual, I'm I'm participating in some of those boardroom discussion with various customers. Some of the information I can't share on this platform, but yeah, it's interesting time. The banks are going through this phase, and I'm very optimistic that given the size of each of these banks in terms of their scale and the number of branches and the infrastructure that they have, for them to adopt and own the front end would be just a matter of time, I would say.
Sure, Mr. Mitra. Like you said, interesting times, and this has been definitely a very interesting conversation. So, one final question before we bring this session to a close.
Sure.
Starting with Mr. Garg. Sir, going forward, which technologies will become critical for BFSI companies? How can they make the most of these technologies?
So I feel going forward, AI/ML, cloud adoption, and API-enabled platforms going to be critical for BFSI companies. Cloud adaptation would provide them ability to scale, reduce costs, and innovate. And APIs provide them ability to partner and generate more revenues. And AI/ML provide them ability to provide exceptional experience to customers, what we can call a hyper personalization of services, basically.
Great. Mr. Mitra, besides these technologies, what else do you think would become very crucial, very critical for BFSI companies?
See, at least most of these banks, or the insurance companies, they are all hungry for business today, and there is a lot of investment going around outside the core applications, and most of those innovations and the application development or the modernization work which is going around is around customer experience, is around not only getting the customer insights or giving a kind of a 360-degree view for our customer, but it's all about engaging the customer on a sustainable basis. Okay, and every engagement has to deliver a different experience for that client. So I think, as Rishabh rightly pointed out, it's about the personalization. It's around the innovations are happening around personalization. So obviously, cloud adoption is a very, very critical activity. AI/ML is given for that matter. There's a lot of investments happening in terms of data analytics, data lakes platform, which all these BFSI customers are contemplating. Some of them have implemented, some of them are on the process of implementation. So it's all around centric around the CX in terms of enriching a better customer experience and more importantly, having a sustainable customer engagement model on a 24/7, 365 days basis. So that's a critical area.
Wonderful. Thanks a ton, gentlemen, for this wonderful chat. That's all we have time for, viewers. To sum up the session, the financial services sector is having to transform and focus on creating an agile digital platform model, rich with opportunities for interactions to generate user data that can be leveraged to personalize services, add value to the lives of customers, and as a result, find new sources of revenue. For the financial services sector, this is just the first chapter in what promises to be a long story of discovery. Thanks, Mr. Mitra, and thanks, Mr. Garg, for sharing your thoughts, and thanks to the attendees for joining us. Keep watching the second ETCIO Cloud and Data Center Summit. Thank you.
Thank you, Yash. Thank you, Rishabh.
Thank you.
Looking forward.